All right. Thank you very much, Brian. And it's been a great honor and great journey for us for 72 weeks. And I think this is what we all human beings are all about is, we all walk together, share, and then we move forward. And ultimately, the topic today is very, very interesting. I think I would not be able to complete it in just one session because there is so much to share and so much of information needs to be shared on just sleep alone. And the best challenge I had was how do I connect our sleep to our water? See, ultimately, our basic foundation on this platform is we are connected with our terahertz resonator and the water. So definitely we need to see what has water to do with sleep. So definitely there is a lot of beautiful connectivity between our sleep, the water, and then the various other factors which are all very, very important for us to keep our good health. Definitely we need to have a proper sleep. Now, saying that sleep is one of the most beautiful experience for every human being on earth. I think every one of you down here would love to sleep, and wake up late in the morning, and just imagine there's no work and there's no responsibility for us to do anything on earth, means we'll be sleeping all the day, because it's a beautiful phenomena and it's a very beautiful feeling of refreshing. And then it's a nice feeling. It's like, like when we are born as babies, definitely we sleep for a very, very long time. And that part you will see when we get older, especially people above 80 years, actually should be sleeping for a long time. But invariably, they will not be, for the reason there are a lot of factors. As I go through, I think we will be able to get into the exact of what is sleep all about, what are the factors affecting, we'll be able to look into. Now, there are many of us, I wouldn't know how many of you all are like this. See the time there, it's almost 3:20 a.m. and still this guy is not sleeping. And it's there. I think most of my patients whom I see also will say that they are not getting a proper sleep, and for various reasons. And now, whatever the reason is, if your body doesn't have a proper rest, it will not be able to recoup and regenerate and then rejuvenate. It will not be able to do all those functions, which is a very, very basic necessity for any machine. Like if you consider your body as a machine, definitely you need to give a proper rest. Now, proper rest means it's not just lying on the bed and then not sleeping. So in this way, sleep plays such a very, very important role that it has to happen whether you like it or not. But on the other hand, due to various factors, and one of the factors is working night shifts. Now, this is something which, if you had seen maybe 30, 40 years ago, definitely not many of us would be doing night shifts unless the factory is in demand where you need to do a night shift. But most of the working pattern will be is like a 9 to 5 or maximum 6 o'clock. They will all go back. Now, even before the industrialization, if you look at the way our ancestors were living, probably they were all working in the farms, and so it will be maximum before sunset, everything will be settled and they will go back and then sleep by 8 o'clock. I think they will go back to sleep because those days they didn't have electricity. Now, when there was no electricity and there is nothing much to, no entertainment also for them. There were no movie theaters, and they didn't have phones as well. So the only entertainment for them is to, when they personally meet their friends, they will be chatting, and then other than that, there's nothing much. And of course there was a lot of teamwork doing in terms of teamwork. What I mean is, as friends, when they join together, they will share their problem, they will get some ideas what to do. And they had a very, very beautiful restricted kind of lifestyle, but that was beautiful. But today the journey has taken into a very, very different role, and we all work long hours and we work overtime, especially if you're working for an American company or a UK-based European companies. You might have to work late night here and then you will be sleeping in the morning. But we think that it's still okay to work in that night time and then wake up late in the morning. Absolutely, you're actually creating a situation for your body wherein everything goes upside down. Now, one of the very, very important situation where you can see the birds. Now, they are the much more easiest way to understand. You just imagine a crow or a sparrow or a parrot or any birds. No? They will wake up by morning 5:30 and they will start flying up. Now, where do they go? They go miles apart just for food. They will go have their food, pick up the food, and then once again fly back. And they are so well organized. Their GPS system works so very well organized. They know where is their home. But today, you and me, if someone invites you for probably a party or for whatever function, now from here to go to KL also we need a GPS system, we need a Google Map, we need Waze, and all these we need. And in spite of that, we'll miss the road, and then finally we'll be going round and round and round, and ultimately to reach the place we will be late. In spite of technology, in spite of so many things, why is that human beings we are actually finding it difficult? Is one of the reason what I am looking at down here today. Many of us need to have a proper plan of life. It could be your nutrition, it could be a sleep, it could be a work pattern, it could be a socialization, it could be a using your phone, it could be whether you're consuming alcohol, your entertainment, everything has to have a very, very balanced life. Now, when you look at the sleep, the expanded form of sleep is very, very simple. S stands for silence, in line, L stands for in line with the eternal exploration program. Now, what do you mean by this eternal exploration program? Is something very beautiful. You would have seen babies whenever they are sleeping, you will see they will smile on their own. We'll be thinking, why are they smiling to? With whom are they smiling? In fact, they will be actually connecting to the higher angels, the higher beings down there. We all think that, as human beings, whatever we see is only the real things. Beyond that, we cannot see. And even our vision, if you see, what we see is also a very, very limited, redundant, visual frame what we have. Whereas animals have a better vision, birds have a better vision. And in another situation is, unless you really sleep very well, you will not be able to connect to the higher dimension. For the reason is, there are a lot of downloading also can happen whenever you're in your deep sleep. There is a lot of beautiful connectivity which will happen. And that's the reason we would definitely request every one of you, or most of us, should wake up in the morning. Waking up at around 4:30 a.m. is one of the best thing anybody can do. And especially youngsters, other than your working pattern, if there is a possibility for most of you to wake up in the morning, please wake up at around 4:30, or worse come worse, by 5:30, wake up, get out of the bed, and then start working, start doing what you need to do. There are a lot of things we are able to, especially explore. We are actually totally confined to like a frog in a well, and then we go on doing the same thing for years and years. And ultimately, when you see what have you learned, and when you look back and see, absolutely nothing much you would have learned. You are just doing and repeating the same whatever job you're doing. And at the end of the day, as a human being, we are supposed to learn a lot of things when we are as a human being. But we fail to do that, and we only, like I would say, alone 80% of the total population are people who are just repetitively doing the same thing, the whole life, and finally they will get the diseases, and then finally they go to the grave, and that's it. No, this is like a cycle. We all go on and on and on. Now we need to stop. Now, coming back to the sleep and the exploration program, what I mean by this is, you need to have a proper sleep so that there can be an eternal or internal. I can put as an internal also. So internal exploration program. What is that internal exploration program? Is basically, I'm talking about your organs, which definitely needs healing, definitely needs rejuvenation, definitely needs a little bit of revamping of its organs, cells, and tissues. All this can be done only when you're sleeping. It can happen only when you're sleeping. So in that way, what is the basic definition of sleep? Sleep is a natural recurring state of mind and body characterized by an altered consciousness, relatively inhibited by sensory activity, reduced muscle activity, and inhibition of nearly all voluntary muscles. That means you want to lift your hand. When you're sleeping, you won't be able to lift your hand unless you are not in your sleep. And of course, during the rapid eye movement sleep and reduced interaction with the surroundings, you will not actually, many times you won't even know who is coming near you and going out. Even a mosquito, unless it bites up and then you feel it, then only you will feel. Otherwise, even in sleep, probably your hand will involuntarily go and hit that particular mosquito. But most of the time, we won't even know what's happening when we are all around. Now, when you look at the same situation for an animal, the animal, even in spite of sleeping, you can just see, watch your dogs. If you have dogs at home, just look into it. Its ears always will be up, and then it will be receiving the signals from all around instantly, and it will be able to recognize if there is any little sound, they will get up. Whereas you and me, the moment we go to sleep, we'll be deadlocked. Like we will be sleeping so deep that we won't even know what's happening. But it's fine for us to sleep, have a very good deep sleep. So it is a naturally recurring state of mind and body, and this happens every day. We have to do that. Now, this is a very, very beautiful calculation, and then which I picked it up today. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity, because I also went and picked up a lot of information for me to present it to you. Now, can you see the number of hours? 227,760 hours of sleep, which accounts for 1/3 of your life. Now, if you divide your life into in an average of around 78 years, can you believe you'll be sleeping for 26 years? That's your sleeping time. And you know how many days? It is around 9,940 days. And there is another very, very crazy part, which is very, very, actually it does happen, is in the whole part of life, 7 years, we tend to try sleeping, many a times, especially 50 plus and all, because of our stressful condition, we'll be trying to sleep, but we won't be. So when you add the 7 years to the 26 years, automatically it is almost 33 years of our life goes off in sleeping. That is 12,045 days. Now just imagine, 1/3 is gone. There is another 1/3, another one part of it, probably you will be working for a company or working for a factory or working for an organization. That also goes up. Then your socialization, taking care of the family. Now, when you look at all these, finally, how many days or years or number of hours you will be looking for your own self is very, very small. It will be only 7 to 8 years of your whole life you will be spending only for yourself. That is probably it is a time which you will be spending for your own self. Now, it's fine that 1/3 of our this one goes in, but if you can sleep properly, definitely that is an advantage, because the creator has created in such a way that we need to sleep for a minimum number of hours every day. An average of around 6 to 8 hours of sleep is good enough for us to rejuvenate. Now we need to definitely look into this, but many a times what happens is, because of our other commitments and because of our other areas of interest, we tend to overlook that sleep is also very, very important, and we start focusing on that particular achievement of whatever materialistic. But many times, if it is years of working like that, you're working, like if you're doing 2 jobs, it's all fine, you're doing 2 jobs, it's okay, but your sleep, once it gets disturbed, now what happens is you will start paying the penalty only when you're 50 plus. Now, that time, if you're going to pay the penalty in the form of diseases, do you think you want that kind of lifestyle? Absolutely, no one wants a disease after 50 years. But today, you see, you go to the hospital and see most of the people, diabetes is very common, blood pressure is very common, mental illness is very common. Then, other than that, heart issues are very common. No, there are so many issues which is just cropping up. So in that way, what happens? You have to look at sleep as an important factor, which you need to decide. Basically, you need to decide what exactly you want. So now we are going to what are the kinds of sleep. Just simple. I'm not going into very detailed. Just simple. I'm going to divide it. It is into a non-REM sleep and the REM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement. In this particular non-rapid eye movement, there are 4 stages. Now, the stage 1 is basically between you're awake and falling asleep. You're awake and you're going to sleep is the stage 1. The stage 2 is you're into light sleep, but slowly your breathing goes down and then your heart rate also slowly drops down. But stage 3 and 4 is basically you go into a very deep sleep. But there is something happening in the REM sleep. What is REM sleep is when there is a rapid eye movement, but your eyelids are closed, but your eye will be moving fast, left and right, it will be moving. Now, what happens is, and the brain waves are similar to those of wakefulness. So what does it mean? So when you're in an REM sleep, your brain is already in a wakeful state. Now, can you see the breath rate also increases? Your breathing slowly increases and the body becomes temporarily paralyzed as we start dreaming. Now, this is the situation where many of us will have some vivid dreams and some issues which has been, you are probably, when your conscious mind, you would have seen it, you will start recollecting those situations in this particular rapid eye movement, and it will be like as though you're awake, but you're not awake. Now, this is when many a times we would be probably having a stroke. We will be probably having some nightmares. We will be going into a spasm. Actually, like when there is a fear factor, for example, you are fearful of some particular situation, even though you are sleeping, but still in this REM sleep, you will be the same way as though you are fearful. So just imagine when during this REM sleep, what happens is your blood vessels also goes into contraction. That means the blood flow will be affected. If the blood flow is affected, for example, you would have heard a lot of people having a stroke, having heart issues early in the morning. Now, why is that? It's because during this time, you are in a wakeful state, but you're sleeping. Your breath rate, your breathing also goes so rapid that as though you're awake. So in this situation, automatically there are a lot of trigger factors which will be like you're in an awakened state, but you're lying down. It's like, you're paralyzed. You can't do anything because you're in that particular sleep. Now, just imagine what happens is you will be going through this 4 to 5 times, a minimum of 4 to 5 times. That means you'll be in a non-REM sleep, then you will go to REM sleep, then once again come back to non-REM sleep, and then go back to REM. Like this, there will be some shift of thing happening in the normal when you sleep for 6 to 8 hours. Now, this is a natural phenomenon. Now, we cannot avoid it. Now, in this situation, very, very important is whenever you go to sleep. Anyway, I'm going to give you all the tips as to what you're going to do. So let me go to the next slide. Now, what are the very, very important elements of sleep? A good quality sleeps, the duration. How many hours do you sleep? Very, very important. The number 2 is continuity. Are you practicing the same time? That means every day you sleep at 11 o'clock, you should be sleeping at 11 o'clock. That is the continuity. Then the depth of sleep. Depth of sleep is basically means like the non-REM sleep. How deep can you go inside and totally everything is relaxed. Your breath. See, very important is when your breath goes down, your heart rate goes down, everything is relaxed, isn't it? Isn't that a good situation? The same what you can achieve while you're doing your meditation. When you're doing your pranayama or probably the breathing technique, if you're doing the proper breathing technique, you can actually, what you're going to achieve in sleeping time is what you achieve during meditation. So there is a lot of interlink between the rejuvenation happening during sleep and consciously you get into a meditative state and then start getting the benefits of the rejuvenation, revamping of your organs, then rejuvenate this is rejuvenation. If I'm talking, is basically we are talking at cell level. Everything starts happening, and the most beautiful experience will be you will be totally relaxed. So that means your vessels are all very relaxed, so the blood flow will be also very good, and all the organs will be fully flooded with only good blood supply. And then of course, very, very important is when there is a good blood supply and you are in a sleeping situation, in a deep sleep, there is a very good detoxification happening. So detoxification should happen means automatically you need to be in deep sleep. This is also very, very important. So healing also happens only when you are in a deep sleep. So these are the 3 elements of good sleep: is duration, continuity, and the depth of sleep. Now, there is a beautiful, it's an automatic control system that your body is built in sleep control. That means there are 2 situations which is naturally God created it, and then we all have this. Now, what is that? Number 1 is called the circadian rhythm. What is the circadian rhythm is, whether you like or not, there is something called a biological clock. Now, what is a biological clock? Actually, all human beings by 8 o'clock or maximum 9 or 10 o'clock, we are supposed to switch off the light and go to bed. This is what we are supposed to do, and this is what our ancestors were doing. And when that particular clock is rightly set, and then we go at the right time, what happens is when you switch off the light, it takes 45 minutes to 1 hour for you to get into the typical biological range of sleep. Why? Because once you switch off your light, your melatonin, that means your brain is being told, hey, look, this fella has already switched off the lights and now there's nothing much you can do, so now he is going to sleep. So the brain also understands that you are going to sleep, and then it will start releasing a hormone called melatonin. The moment melatonin comes in, automatically your sleep will set in. So imagine if you are not going to switch off the light by 10 o'clock. Now what will happen? The next situation is the light is going on through your eyes, and then automatically the brain is thinking you're still awake and still awake and still awake. So automatically the brain will not produce melatonin. Now, when people go blind because of natural reasons, like maybe some because of diseases like diabetes, is very, very common. A lot of people lose eyesight. Now, when these people go blind, now definitely they can't sleep because they have been used to the proper circadian rhythm. So it has been noticed that blind people will have sleeping issues. Now, there is another situation, something called sleep drive. This is another natural sleep control we all have in our body. Now, just like a sleep drive, the other example I can give you is hunger drive. Now, if it is 12 o'clock and you always go for your food lunch in the afternoon, what will happen? You will automatically feel hungry, and then you will go, pick up something, you will eat. That is basically a hunger drive. The same way, whether you like it or not, the body will crave to sleep. It is a natural mechanism you cannot avoid. Now, you would have seen many times you would feel very sleepy. It is actually your office hours and you're working, but you will feel sleepy. Now, this is where it has been told that you should have a power nap. Power nap is anywhere between 15 minutes to 30 minutes is called a power nap. And that one, whether you sit on a chair and then you go to that particular sleep, see there what happens is you're not going into a very deep sleep, but you're giving a body for a relaxation. You will not go into the REM sleep. REM sleep is basically you get into a paralysis mode, right? Your body fully relaxed there. It is not that. You're consciously here, but you will go into a short nap. Now, this is where the sleep drive, God's creation, it is there. Now, these two, you need to honor and you need to work on it. Now, these are all switches which you have to practice it and then start working on exactly how your body needs. You have to work on in the same way so that everything starts falling in place. Now, most of us, what we all do is we actually break the cycle and then we try to overcome. Of course, the reasons, I totally agree with you that because you're working, you cannot sleep there, you cannot have a power nap because you don't have a proper environment there. It's all there. But what I request is you all have to plan according to your situation and then see how you can, because if your body doesn't need a sleep, if it is not wanting a sleep, it won't put you to sleep. Now, this many of us would have noticed, especially when you're driving your car, especially when you're taking a long drive, you will feel a little feeling of going to sleep. Now, the best thing would be is either you stop the car, have a proper nap, and then probably for 15 minutes, and then you start the car and drive back. It is very, very beautiful. You should do that. And the second normal mistakes we all do is, I always will tell, do not drive your vehicles after 12 o'clock midnight. Don't do it. Unless it's an emergency where you have to drive the car at between 12 to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. If it is an emergency, please do it. Otherwise, avoid it. Wake up in the morning by around 4 o'clock and then start driving once again. You will be able to drive your car much more alertly, and then it is much more safer. Because when you're talking about energies, I might tell you that energies, especially unfavorable energies, are very, very high, especially between 12 o'clock to early morning 3:30. Unfavorable energies, or you can call it as spirit energies, they will be moving around very at a high level because they are all happy, because the whole town is all totally dark and they are happy. So that is a second area I would request you is you need to plan your trips properly. Now, other than that, what else can we do? Now, why should you sleep? It's a very simple question. Everybody will say, of course, we need to. One of the very, very important reason for you is, if at all you want to your brain to be flexible and then your brain to connect with new neurons. See, every thought we do, every thought, every action we do, there is a plexus being formed, a new neuron gets connected. Now, just for example, you want to wake up in the morning at around 4 o'clock. What you do, you decide that you want to wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock. Now, there is a neuronal connection formed that you're going to wake up at morning 4 o'clock. Now, what happens is, if you can do it regularly, the same neurons or new neurons are being formed. For example, you do it for 10 days. So 10 days, the neurons has been connected, and the message you're giving is, I'm waking up at 4 o'clock. So automatically, don't you think the brain will execute the same, what you need is, you're supposed to wake up at 4 o'clock. So in the same way, for a neuron to be formed, if you're thinking positive, the neurons become positive. If you're talking negative about a situation, you're talking negative about a person, you're talking negative about an unfavorable situation, what happens? The neuron is formed. Whether you like it or not, the neuron is formed. So imagine in one day, if you go on thinking negative about a particular person, automatically the neurons are already formed, and then automatically you will get an aversion towards that person, and then automatically you will start distancing from that particular person. Why is that? Because you have formed it. So it is an automatic phenomenon. Number one. Number two is, you're sending the same vibration to the environment, and the other person also will receive that, and they will also feel uneasy because they already received that information that this person is not liking that person. They already received it. Now, this is how the brain works. So connecting neurons is a natural phenomena. For that, you need to have a good sleep. So if you have a good sleep, automatically there is a very good plasticity of the brain neurons. Number one. Number two, brain detox happens only during sleep. So you want the brain to remove all the toxins which has been collected in the daytime. It has to be throwing it out, right? It can do only when you are sleeping. When you are active, it cannot do that. So brain detox. Then, can you believe depression, seizures, high blood pressure, migraine? It worsens, if at all, if your sleep is compromised. So your immunity is compromised, and there is a increasing likelihood of all the illness and infection. All are related to the sleep. Now imagine, if the illnesses and infection are, why they are related is because your immune system goes down when there is sleep is less. Now, lack of sleep. This is recently I studied this, and there is a very, very beautiful research they have done in one of our medical journals. I read this. People who do not sleep properly between the age of 50 to 70 years are more prone for Alzheimer's and dementia, and the forgetfulness happens, especially because the connectivity between the memory, short-term memory, and the long-term memory is disconnected. That means the short-term memory is supposed to go and put everything into the long-term memory. That happens during the sleep. It happens automatically during the sleep. Now, if you do not sleep properly, that means it cannot take it and put it in the long term. That is why you see a lot of people having forgetfulness. This is all natural. So that means your main purpose of living on this planet Earth, we need to plan our life properly. Now, there are a lot of challenges you are going to go through. Of course, when there is a financial strain, when there is an economic downtrend going on, it is a challenge for every one of you. Now, but what is the only solution we all have is we just plan according to the 24 hours what God has given us. We'll start planning. Now, aging will happen much faster if you are going to sleep less. That is another one of the important areas. Now, lack of sleep also affects diabetes, blood pressure, chronic diseases. It is very, very difficult to control. Now, what is happening? Many of us would have come to the doctor, and the doctor, they will say, doctor, I cannot sleep, doctor. Now, why they cannot sleep? The complication of all these diseases starts setting in at a cellular level, and slowly it starts creeping up. Now, what will happen? You go to a doctor, of course, 100% they will give you some painkillers. Now, painkillers are not a solution for your problem. It is not a solution. Now, especially if you have a burning feet. Now, if you have a burning feet because of your diabetes, what happens? Of course, the doctor can give you some painkillers, then some nerve-related nutrition they can give you. But what is the reason is because your sugar levels has been uncontrolled, the vessel walls has been eaten up, then your nerves are exposed inside, which is all you cannot see with your eyes. Like recently, one of my very close person, and this person was my other director of my company. And every time I ask him, he used to tell me, doctor, my sugar level is only 5.5 to below 6. He will always say his sugar levels is below 6 only. Now, absolutely fine. Now, there is certainly in the month of May, he just called me and said, doctor, I'm in the hospital. They have removed my toes. I asked him, I was shocked actually. I asked him, "Hey, what are you telling?" Yes, doctor, my leg. So my question is, like your sugar level was normal, then why did that happen? This is where I will request, I will let you all know that there is a lot of underlying situation which you cannot see with your eyes. Whatever you see outside is not what you are inside. Inside is a different. So taking care of the inside is so important, that for you to be healthy, you better buck up, start looking at your nutrition. Very important. Start looking at other factors. Now there is one more very important, this one I will probably go into that, tips. Now basically, what is who are the which are the situation which will steal your sleep and go. Number one is your stress factor. Now, if you ask me stress, what exactly is stress is a given situation, you are not able to find a solution. But my question to most of you would be is, you are a six-cent animal, right? Compared to basically a four-legged animal, be it a lion or a cheetah or any other animal, we are supposed to be much more sensible in handling our lifestyle. But why is that only human beings go on talking about stress, and then finally you land up only in stress, only to find that you have all the problems under the sun. So basically, you need to start working on your personal journey of life, where you need to know what you can take it up, what you cannot take it up, what you can do, what you cannot do. So do not allow the stressful situation to come in. So this is where in the dictionary, if you look at, there is something called yes and there is something called no. Most of us will say yes where we are supposed to say no, and where we are supposed to say no, we will be saying yes. It's opposite, most of us. Why we cannot take a wise decision when we as a sixth sense animal are supposed to be much wiser in making decisions, making our life much more meaningful, and making a beautiful life of our path is all within us. Now why is that we don't do it? Now stress is another factor. As I told you, you will be having lack of sleep. Now, number two, can you believe exercise and your sleep habits are very important? It has been told that every day 10 minutes of exercise can put you to sleep very beautifully, very simply, because you did an exercise that day. So you have to work on a regular pattern wherein you have to probably, allocate. Now, this is where allocating of time comes in. You need to allocate some time for your own self. You need to allocate some time for your proper sleep. You need to have everything, compiled in a very beautiful pattern. You are the decision maker, and you should actually work on it and then program it. See, you go to any corporate companies, they have all a protocol, right? You go for a meeting, there'll be a protocol, who should sit where. What is the protocol for the meeting? Now, once you finish the meeting, there is something called minutes. Someone is supposed to jot down all the minutes of thing, and then you prepare a letter saying that what all we decided, what are the things we need to do, what are the things we need to execute. When a corporate company can have all these protocols, you are also this beautiful body is also a corporate office. Now imagine 50 trillion cells inside with all the beautiful organs, minimum 36 major organs in your body. Everybody are working on their own. Now what kind of protocol have you created for these beautiful factories and companies which are working inside for you, in and out, day in and out, whether they don't complain to you, but they are all working together. What are you doing? So you should start having proper guidelines for your own self first, and then start moving forward in life. Late sleeping habits, definitely you cannot get back to that sleep. Drinking caffeine later part of the evening, that also will affect your sleep pattern. Then if you're a ardent basically phone user, of course today with Android phones we all have you seen recently there are a lot of your screen protectors coming with blue light protection, and even the glasses, what spectacles I'm using is basically the blue light protected one, something like that. Now why is that? Because blue light affects your melatonin production. The moment blue light goes in, automatically your melatonin is switched off. Your brain will think you're in a daytime, and then it will not produce the melatonin. Definitely certain chronic diseases, you will not be able to sleep properly. And of course, people, especially older age group of 80 plus with if they have prostate issues, of course they will have to probably get up frequently to go to the washroom. So there also their sleep is disturbed. Medication is another major problem many of us, in fact, when especially medications you are taking, the doctor should tell you that it will put you on a situation where the serotonin is production will be reduced, it will hamper your melatonin, and then of course your sleep pattern will be affected. Now these are all very simple mechanism where you can have a lack of sleep. Next, this is a very beautiful situation. Babies sleep long hours, so should older people. But you and I as an like youngsters, I call ourselves as youngsters because the WHO says that anything until 65 we still call us youngsters. So it's good for us to claim that we are all still youngsters. So there are a lot of things we need to do, be it in the mind, be it in our body physically, but sleep should be one of the very important. So 6 to 8 hours of sleep is an ideal situation for everybody. But I have seen people sleeping for between 4 to 5 hours only. Like most of the time it does happen that I do go at 12 o'clock, by 11:30 12 go to sleep, and then morning between 4:30 to 5 or 5:30 maximum, latest will be waking up at between 5:30 to 6 will be my waking time. It's been a practice for almost quite a long time, and this gives a very beautiful feeling of goodness, and that is sufficient for me to recoup back, and then keeping your energies very strong and wide also helps you to keep your physical fitness very well intact, and then going for regular exercise at least weekly 5 times. I would definitely go to regular exercise, pick some weights, and then go for a treadmill walk, and then sometimes I go for outside the open air walk. All this you need to go on changing and doing things. Do not routinely do the same routine every day. So you need to start having a proper protocol. So in that way, what are the ways you can make things better for you? Number one, you have to establish your regular bedtime and waking time. This is very important. So from today onwards, start looking at what time you want to go to bed. See, ultimately, you're the big boss for your own self, because from here, I can tell you should go to bed at 10 o'clock, but your working time will be different. By the time you drive back, it will be late. But still, look into what is your regular going to bed time, waking up time. Number two, allow yourself to take a nap if you're tired. Especially nap is, we are talking about in the afternoon times, especially when you're working, but you have to see your situation down there and then only go for a nap. But it is, if it is required, please allow yourself and then go for a rest and have a healthy lifestyle. In that way, see, why I've put alcohol and stimulating beverages is you should know where to limit your alcohol. You should know where to have your stimulating beverages, because at the end of the day, your modifying your lifestyle is very important if at all you want to cut down your diseases. And creating caffeine cutoff time. Now this is where you need to you can probably drink coffee until maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, and then after that do not drink caffeine, because that keeps your brain very active. So you need to do that, and avoid eating heavy meals after 8 p.m. This is another very important daily routine that we should practice, is have a very light meal. Preferably it can be soups, it can be juices, it can be porridge. And especially in my medical practice, I always tell people not to eat non-vegetarian, especially at night time, because non-vegetarian, for it to digest, takes around 6 to 8 hours for it to, your system to digest. Now you're going to eat 8 o'clock, you're going to eat a non-vegetarian and go to sleep. What will happen is your machine will be start working at the night time also for it to digest and push it down. So you are actually giving a situation where your body is supposed to rest and do the detoxification mechanism for all the organs has to be done when you're sleeping. But here the machine is on, and then especially your grinder, your stomach is like a grinder, it is going on churning and churning for it to digest the non-vegetarian. So if at all you want to eat non-vegetarian, have a wonderful meal in the afternoon. It's not a problem, because daytime you're still working, and you have to, if at all if you're eating non-vegetarian, you better go to regular exercises. You have to do that. If you're eating non-vegetarian and you're not doing any exercise, let me tell you what happens is your body breaks down, and when you're 50s only, you will start getting more problems, and then finally you want to become healthier, it is not possible. But at the same time, you should understand that especially when you're taking a non-vegetarian meal, you're putting a pressure on your system. So when you're putting a pressure on your system, what happens? Automatically the pressure will, the system will break down in the form of diseases. So you have to, you decide what you want to do. But my humble request to every one of you would be is have non-vegetarians in the afternoon, is no problem. But night, as far as possible, avoid it. And then but here, see, it's a very, very delicate situation, because most of the functions you see, it will be the evenings, and most of the parties will be in the evening, and that time, of course, everything will be served. How are you going to avoid it? So there I would prefer you choose what is the best option you have for you, and you decide what is the best modality of planning you need to do. So having regular exercise also is very, very important for you to have a proper sleep. You have good exercise, you will sleep very well. And avoid charging and switching on with your Wi-Fi and bright lights in your bedroom. You should avoid that. Next, bedroom is your very, very personal space, and 1/3 of your life you're spending there. So please make your bedroom as a beautiful place for you to, the moment you enter into your room, it should be have a beautiful ambience, the coloring, the lighting. You can have indoor plants, you can have crystal lamp to create more of that negative ions. Crystal lamp will create more negative ions. And you should have an air purifier in your room. It's good for you. Then maybe, of course, I would love some light music system in my bedroom, because I always listen to some light music before I go to bed. And of course, the aircon temperature, very important. You just check what is the temperature outside. Okay. I'll give you an example. If the outside temperature is around 25 degrees, your inside temperature must be around 23 only. 2 degrees you have to bring it down. But what you and I, or most of the people will do, is outside temperature is around 25 degrees, and these days, most of us would have kept the temperature at 16 degrees. There's a lot of gap. So your body needs a proper balancing of situation, because suddenly you get up in the morning and you see the temperature out is only 25 and you are 16. So from 16 to 25, your body needs to adapt once again there. So you have to, this is a very, very important clue I'm giving you, that aircon temperature, what you keep is very, very important. And accordingly, your body also will get adapted to it. Now, choosing the right mattress is also very, very important for your sleep. It's because your spine support is very important. The pillow, what you use for your neck, is very, very, very important. Now, in my case, I don't need a mattress because I sleep on the floor. I use a very small, thin bed to be on the floor. I suddenly decided, this happened around 8 years ago. I had severe back problem with my prolapse of my disc prolapse was there, and then this all happened around 8 years ago. Now totally I've recovered from all the problem after sleeping down flat on the floor. I am very comfortable. So for me, if you put me on the mattress, I feel very uncomfortable because I don't sleep on mattress. Spine support on the floor is very, very good. So this is what I do. But of course, you have to choose the right mattress. A little expensive one, it's always better for you. And very, very important for the married people is avoid conflicts in your bedroom, because that creates a very, very unfavorable vibration. So before going to bed, do not have any conversation or conflictual conversation which will lead to a feeling of uneasiness. Do not. So you have to like when I did my Reiki, my master used to tell me, you should have a separate room where you can fight. That room is only for fighting only. Go fight in that room and come back. Your bedroom should be free from all those difference of opinion. Bedroom is a place where you need to sleep very peacefully and lovingly. You need to sleep. So this is something which is very, very important. And always go to sleep. This is another very, very important situation for every one of you. Have a full of gratitude for the day, the people whom you have met, and the blessings you have had for this whole day, what God has given you. It could be your house, it could be your clothing you wear, it could be the food you have been eating. See, we are all gifted that we have everything. But many times we don't realize that this is something which we need to, because we are always on the look of wanting more. So this is where when you go to sleep also, what will happen? Even if you go to sleep also, you still will be dreaming of that. But the only difference between the dream, what you do that time, is your body is totally paralyzed. You can't do anything. And there are a lot of the unfavorable situation will definitely be created, and then which is you are the reason for it. So better be careful and have a practice. Now this is also you need to practice the gratitude. Attitude of gratitude is something you need to practice every day, and be thankful for everything what you have. Very, very important. Even a person who have done harm to you, what you need to do is just forgive them and start moving forward, because many times when we forgive people, there's a lot of blessings will come for us. Maybe sometimes you might think you're losing money, but someone came and cheated you. Yes, but let me tell you, when that happens, God, the universe always is ready to give you more. If you are losing 1 ringgit, you will be getting back 10 ringgits with you. This is how the universe has been blessed, and this is my personal experience. Also, I have no issues in journey of life, because every time the universe will bless you, and this is where your wisdom comes in. Now, last but not the least, there is something very, very important, which for you to have your sleep is very, very important. Now, what is that? You all can answer in your chat box, but still what I will do is I will go ahead and then give you what exactly is that. Last but not the least is your water. Water plays such an important role. How much of water you have consumed in the day is what will determine your detoxification, how well it happens. Everything will, it's like, you don't drink sufficient amount of water. Just imagine yourself, you have a servant in your house, and then you don't give them sufficient amount of water to clean your vessels, or for mopping, or washing your clothes, or washing your car, or washing your home. You need a required amount of water has to be given to the servant or the maid for them to do their job. Now just imagine the same situation, your workers inside your body, your liver, your kidneys, your brain, your lungs, everybody needs water. They are all looking forward for water. Now, if you do not averagely drink minimum of 3 to 3.5 liters to maximum of 4 liters of water according to your weight, how do you think your body will, from where the body will go and ask for water? Like for you, what will happen if you don't have water at home? You can give a call to the people where they supply water, and they will come and supply the water for you. But for your body, to whom will it call? Do you know what the body will do? The body is very, very intelligent. If you do not consume sufficient amount of water, the only person the body will speak to is your kidneys. It will just call up the kidneys and say, this fellow is not drinking water at all. You better do something. So what the kidney will do, it will stop producing urine to be thrown out. The filtration system, it will just block all the thing, and it will try to preserve water and retain water back to the body, because it needs to function. The body is telling me this guy is not drinking the amount of water. So what do? The kidney says, don't worry, I will stop all the urine output. Now, have you seen any time you drink less of water, the next day you see morning, it will be burning sensation of your urine will be there. Why is that? Because your body has conserved that water for its function. It never asked you, sir, can I do the conservation? It won't ask you, because these are all automatic mechanism what God has created for you. So you better have to have a proper water drinking habit, and then the required amount has to be, there is no compromise. So the main function to take in the nutrients, take out the toxin. Now just imagine when you're awake also, the nutrient has to go into the cell, right? For that also it needs water. To remove the toxic also it needs water. So drinking sufficient amount of water can solve many problems of sleep. Now, this is something very, very beautiful and very unique. So what is the big deal here? Now we are all here on this platform where we are talking about the terahertz resonated water. Now it's a God's choice and a good choice. Why do I say God choice? Is because it has a lot of functions which can help your body cell basically the cell function to move on at the right direction with the right guide, and everything starts falling in place when the water is there inside your cell. Now that's where it's a good choice for you. Now when there is a good choice, what does this terahertz machine has done? It has made things a lot easier for us, because you just drink it, automatically the water will enter into your cell system, because the molecular structure of the water is very small. That is an advantage for us. Now, very important is, many times whenever I'm talking about the terahertz water, people think that I'm talking about a device which is a filtration system. They will think, is it a filtration system? Then I say, no, it is not a filtration system. It's only a resonator. So you need to, whenever you're talking to people and whenever you're guiding them, or when you're promoting the terahertz resonator, you should tell them terahertz resonator is the device. Now, so that means they need to have a proper filtered water before they resonate. You cannot resonate any damn water under the sun. The water has to be filtered. This is very, very important. Now, what is the advantage of this terahertz resonator is it produces a low frequency resonation, which ultimately will change the molecular structure of the water. The moment molecular structure of the water is changed, what beautiful things happen? It becomes an antibacterial, it becomes an antiviral, it becomes an antifungal, it has an antioxidant effect, and it has an anti-radiation effect. And the viscosity is very, very low, minus 620. And the angulation of the H2O is increased by 5. So thereby, what happens? Your hardness of water is reduced. So that means the absorption of whatever food you're eating, the minerals, everything gets absorbed very easily when it is a soft water. Now, hard water is something wherein the simplest way to test water as hard or soft is you take a little bit of soap and then use a hard water and then you try to wash your hand. Your soap will never produce more of frothing. It will not. That means there won't be too many bubbles. But the same thing when you are using a soft water, like you can try our terahertz resonated water. What happens is you put little bit of it and then you rub your hands, your frothing will be very, very good. That means more lather when it is soft water. So the benefits of soft water is the better absorption, better mineral situation, better transportation into your cell. All this will happen. Now, that is where when you look at the absorption of this water, it is 3 times more than when you drink a normal water. It is 3 times more. Now, many times people will be asking, doctor, I've been drinking 4 liters of normal water. Now I am drinking the same 4 liters of terahertz water. What will happen? Will it increase? Actually, with the 50 trillion cells in our body, 50 trillion cells, I repeat this, 50 trillion cells, even if you're going to drink 3 liters of terahertz water, many times it won't be sufficient because we are all exposed to a lot of radiation, a lot of chemicals, a lot of pesticide. So they need more water. So in that way, drinking terahertz water, which is 3 times more absorption capacity, is still good for your body. And the most beautiful part of this low frequency is there is a linear arrangement. That means they're all standing in one line. And of course, it does support your telomere. Telomere is basically longevity. So when you look at the benefits of drinking this water, is it is an anti-aging, that means it is very good for longevity. So you want to live longer when you go on drinking this water, of course you will live longer. But at the same time, please be reminded that we are all living in a toxic world with a lot of chemicals. So just by drinking terahertz water, don't tell me that you want to live for another 100 years or 120 years. So there are a lot of other factors. So you have to look into what are the other factors also. So linear, I was talking to you, is something like what you see here. And the device uses a 0.96 terahertz frequency, and the molecular width of your water is 2 nanometers, and the frequency of water is 7.6. That means once you resonate the water, it gets into 7.6. This is something which can penetrate into your cells much more easily. So what are the main benefits? Easy absorption, removal of toxics is much more easy, hydration is much better, absorption of nutrients is definitely good. So when this happens, automatically, what is the benefit? You will have better healthy cells, better function of the cells, better control of disease. So illness to wellness. So there are a lot of, I think, quite a good number of people out there. I think even in the group would have been seeing a lot of improvement in their diabetic control, the blood pressure control, heart issues, skin issues. All these, why it happens is because your body is intelligent enough to do what it is supposed to do. So ultimately, what is the benefit? Your cellular hydration takes place when you drink terahertz resonated water. That you can see very beautifully. When you go for a blood test, they will show you how your blood cells are clumped, and after drinking the terahertz water, how beautifully everything becomes so round and then fully loaded with our water inside. It's fully hydrated. And of course, you can see the plants when you use it for plants, animals. It's an amazing miracle water, we can say, a water with life, you can say. All these qualities are there. So why not we recommend, and why not we give this water to people? And then, if they cannot buy the machine, it's still okay. At least you provide them with the water. So what is that message I'm going to give you when you're going home is sleep is very, very important. Yes, it's very important. So what you need to do, drink sufficient amount of water, and then whatever tips I give you, what you need to do, please do. And of course, this 1 hour is not sufficient for me to, fully detailedly give you into. And of course, we don't need to go into the medical aspect of sleep and then the problems of sleep. This is good enough. Drink good amount of water and start working on your journey with whatever I have told you. Start with, especially if you're recommending people, start with 500 ml, slowly increase it. And definitely people having kidney issues or lung issues or heart issues, you have to be a little more careful and take proper guidelines from your appliance and proper guidelines from your leaders. And then only you, especially people with diseases, recommend them. Otherwise, when something goes wrong, you will be blamed for it. So in that way, it's safer for you to start this water from a low dose. Nothing will happen. You start with 100 ml, especially with all these issues, is still okay. Slowly increase it to 500 ml until they get used to it. And very, very important, stop looking for cure for your diseases. Just imagine a person will have diabetes. Now you're going and talking to them, and then you're telling them, hey, look, there is a wonderful device. Now this is a water resonator, and when you drink this, there's a lot of good benefits. Now you have to be a little careful, especially we are so enthusiastic that we will go and tell them, hey, look, this person drank the water, his diabetes came down. So the person who wants to buy the device, his mindset is, okay, I buy the device, I drink the water, my diabetes should go away. This is what is their mindset. So you have to be a little careful, and especially when you're talking about a disease and connecting to the water. So I always will tell you is, you drink water for your becoming healthier, nothing else. If you're looking for a disease, then you have to go for hospitals and go get the treatment there. That is different. But do not recommend that you're going to drink the water and get the disease out. No, don't do that. When you drink the water, the benefits, yes, as you go on drinking the water, your body is intelligent. The best doctor in the world is your own body. It knows what to do. It will heal itself. Automatically it will do. You don't need to even tell your body. It will do its job. So just be careful when you're handling people with diseases, because they are patients. That's why we call them as patients. They have some diseases. Now, when you go and talk to them, which is a natural mechanism of a water, you just give them all the points of what are the goodness of the water and ask them to give it a try. Let them drink the water. And sometimes they see, sometimes even if in spite of drinking for 3 weeks also, they don't feel any benefits. I have seen people after drinking for 3 months also, they don't feel any benefits. So now there are certain situations we should know where to cut off, and then we cannot go on promoting the same water to the same person who is not interested in drinking, who is not interested in buying the device as well. Now, there are people where you will come across one or two in your routine, talking about this water, where they will not be convinced with whatever you talk. It won't happen. It's still okay. 1 to 2% of the world population is like that. You give them the best also, they won't change. So now, very important, allow your body to access healing by your own positive approach, positive lifestyle, positive mindset, proper sleeping habits, and you have to take responsibility for whatever you do. You're taking, like for example, if I have to buy the terahertz machine, I take responsibility. I go read about it. I will ask whatever the necessity requirement. It could be the documents, it could be the benefits of drinking water. I take the responsibility. I don't just trust on a person who is going to come and give me the device and then tell, okay, everything is good. I still will do my homework. And the best part, nobody has died because of drinking water. This is something which you have to tell people. Because many times they'll say, can I drink this water, doctor? Can I do this? Can I do? All these questions will come. But tell them, by drinking water, nobody will die. But when a person has some diseases, chronic problems, yes, we need to balance it. We need to titrate it. We need to, we need to know how much to give, how not to give, and how we need to recognize. The person by himself will not be in a position to understand what is body requirement. And suddenly we go and give them the water, and these fellows, of course, will drink the water. And suddenly when some problem comes, they'll think, because of the water only, I'm having this problem. So please be careful. And then, but water is something very, very important. Everybody needs it. Now, make sure, this is a very important message, make sure you have sleep well spent, so that you will be, that your life can be spent well too. Now, what you see, we all die every day before we die permanently. Why did I put this is, we die, what I say is, when you go to sleep, you're totally, like totally unaware of what is happening in the world around you. So that means we are already dying. That's why they always will say, when you wake up in the morning, it's a new life. It's a new leash of life. So before you go to the grave permanently, there are a lot of beautiful things available on this planet Earth. You have to decide what exactly you want in your life. You pick up, and we from here, see, Terahertz company and George, Brian, there are a lot of other people who all are working together, and I am so blessed that I am able to complete my 72nd the Zoom meeting down here and sharing of this is something beautiful. So let's all do what good we can, and then we start moving forward in life. Saying this, I take leave. So you all need to sip the water slowly, understand your body before blaming the outside. Thank you very much. Get from illness to wellness, and then walk your journey with pride that you are a beautiful human being, beautiful soul. And until I see you back, thank you very much. Thank you, Brian, for being my host today. Thank you very much. You can take over now.